My name is Catherine. I'm 38 years old, a senior software engineer, married, with one daughter. You're paying for Dad's retirement party, $15,000. My brother said it like he was telling me what time the movie started. We already booked the venue, he added. It's your turn to contribute. We were at a noisy chain restaurant in Columbus, Ohio. My brother Tyler had his elbows on the sticky table, phone face up, next to his half-eaten burger. My sister Hannah scrolled on her phone, nodding along like this was all perfectly reasonable. I stared at him. I already paid for Mom's surgery, I said slowly, for Hannah's wedding, for your house down payment. Tyler rolled his eyes. Yeah, and you make the most money. That's just how it worked out. Hannah finally looked up. Come on, Catherine. It's Dad's retirement, 65. We want to rent the country club, open bar, DJ, slideshow, the whole thing. It's like 15 grand total. You pick up the bill, we handle planning. I felt that familiar tightening in my chest, the one I'd had since I was a teenager every time someone in my family said my name and the word help in the same sentence. No, I said. The word surprised even me. Both of them blinked. What do you mean no? Tyler laughed. You can't. He's our dad. I said no, I repeated. I've already poured hundreds of thousands into this family. I'm done. Tyler's face flushed. So you're just what? Abandoning us? I pushed my chair back. I'm going back to work, I said quietly. If you want a $15,000 party, you two can figure it out. That night, my phone rang. After everything we did for you, my dad shouted down the line before I even said hello. We fed you, we clothed you, we helped you get where you are. And now you're too good to celebrate your own father? I stood in my dark kitchen, hand on the countertop, staring at the fridge where my 6-year-old daughter's drawings were held up by magnets. I smiled, even though he couldn't see it. Like what? I asked. There was a long, ugly silence. Then a click. He hung up. The next morning, on the bus ride to my office, I opened my banking app and scrolled back through years of transfers. The numbers blurred together. By the end of the week, I'd hired an independent accountant and dropped a thumb drive of statements on his desk. A month later, I sent my family a PDF titled Summary of Financial Support from Catherine, 2008 to 2025. Right there on page 3 in clean black letters, it said, Total given, $340,000. Total received, $0. When my dad read that line, he went completely silent. And that phone call, that party, that number, it was not the first time they treated me like the family ATM. It was just the first time I finally treated it like math instead of guilt. We grew up on the east side of Columbus. Small, 3-bedroom house, brown carpet that always felt a little damp, the smell of fried onions in the walls. Dad worked at a distribution warehouse. Mom was a part-time receptionist at a clinic. Money was always tight, but somehow there was always enough for whatever Tyler or Hannah needed. Tyler was the golden child from day one. He played travel baseball, new cleats every season, weekend tournaments in other states, hotel rooms, team dinners. Mom called him our little star. Hannah was the baby and the only girl. Dance classes, costumes, recitals, birthday parties with rented bouncy houses. She should feel special, Mom would say, handing over a card to pay for another sequin dress. Me, I was the responsible one. That meant, you'll be fine without it. When I was 15, I wanted to join a school robotics club that went to regional competitions. There was a fee, a set of tools, and a bus trip. Dad didn't even look up from the TV. Ask them if you can work it off, he said. You're good with computers. They'll let you help. They didn't. I ended up taking a job at the grocery store, bagging groceries after school, partly to save for my own stuff, partly to help with bills when Mom said, We're a little short this month, honey. By 17, I was the one who knew how to read the electric bill. I was the one who could call the water company and negotiate a payment plan. I made a basic budget in Excel on our dinosaur desktop so we wouldn't overdraft again. When Tyler turned 17, my parents showed him a folder. This is your college fund, Mom said proudly. We've been putting money in since you were born. I watched from the doorway. Nobody had a folder for me. The year I graduated high school, I got into Ohio State. No one said, congratulations. Dad sat at the kitchen table with my acceptance letter. We can't pay for that, he said. We might be able to help with books sometimes. You're smart. You'll get scholarships. You'll figure it out. So I did. I took out $32,000 in student loans, worked 30 hours a week at a campus IT help desk, and commuted from our house because renting near campus is a waste of money. Meanwhile, Tyler's college was paid almost entirely from that mysterious fund and a little extra from Mom and Dad to get him started. He lived on campus, joined a fraternity, and took spring break trips. When I asked once if there had ever been a college fund for me, Mom looked offended. "Catherine, you know we didn't have money back then," she said. "You're lucky you're so smart. Not everyone is." Hannah barely finished high school before moving in with a boyfriend and bouncing between jobs. Mom always had a spare $200 for her little girl's emergencies. After college, I stayed in Columbus, took a junior developer job at a logistics company making $52,000, and chipped away at my loans. I bought a used Corolla, years old, with a dent in the bumper. "Look at our girl," Dad said when I pulled into the driveway. "Ms. Big Shot Programmer." But that night, he knocked on my bedroom door. "We're 3 months behind on the gas bill," he said quietly. "Can you help out a bit? Just until I get some extra hours." I wrote a check for $600. It was most of what I had. That started the pattern. There was the roof leak at their house when I was 25 and trying to save for my own place. "The landlord is threatening to kick us out if we don't fix it," Mom cried. "We can't move now." I put $4,500 on my credit card for repairs. They never brought it up again. There was the time Tyler's car broke down and he couldn't get to work. "You're the one with savings," Dad said. "Just lend him something. He's your brother." I co-signed a small used car loan with him. He missed payments. My credit took the hit. But I kept answering their calls and opening my wallet because that's how it had always worked. I was the one who could handle it. Being needed looked a lot like being used, but I was too deep in it to tell the difference. I met my husband, Mia, when I was 29. He's a nurse at a children's hospital, the kind of man who shows up with soup when a coworker has the flu. We moved into a small townhouse together, then had our daughter Lily. "I like your family," Mia said carefully the first time he met them. "But do they always talk about money like that?" I laughed it off then. "Yeah, that's just how they are." I didn't realize at the time that how they are would eventually threaten the stability of the family I was building for myself. The first big hit was Mom's surgery. She had a minor heart attack when I was 32. We rushed to the hospital. Insurance covered the emergency, but the cardiologist recommended a follow-up procedure and additional tests that the insurance company labeled elective. "We can't afford the copays," Mom sobbed in the hospital room, tape still on her hand. "They want nearly $28,000. We'll lose the house." Dad turned to me. "I know you've got a good job now," he said. "This is your mother we're talking about." Mia had just come off a night shift. He looked exhausted. "Let's see the itemized bill," he said calmly, "and what a payment plan would look like." "We don't have time for that," Dad snapped. "She needs surgery now." In the hallway, Mia squeezed my arm. "Catherine, this is a lot of money," he whispered. "We need to think about our own bills, daycare, mortgage, your student loans." I stared at the hospital doors. "I'm not letting them lose the house," I said. We ended up taking out a home equity line of credit on our townhouse for $48,000, more than the surgery cost. But that's what the bank approved because my parents' credit was terrible. The payments hit our budget like a truck, $620 a month for 10 years. "Once I get back to work, we'll help you with the payments," Dad promised, shaking my hand. "We're not irresponsible." They never paid a single dollar toward it. 2 years later, Hannah got engaged. "We want a real wedding," she said over coffee, twisting her ring. "I've always dreamed of a big venue, band, open bar, but we're short. The budget's about $32,000. We just need a little help." "A little help?" Mia repeated. Mom chimed in on speakerphone. "Your sister never asked for anything," she said. "We couldn't give her the best childhood, but we can give her a beautiful start to her marriage. Catherine, you understand." I did the math. After savings and emergency fund, I had about $27,000 I could move without completely wrecking us. I wrote Hannah a bank transfer for $27,000 labeled wedding gift. At the wedding, Tyler made a toast. "To my baby sister," he shouted into the microphone, a beer in one hand, "and to Mom and Dad for giving her such a perfect day." Nobody mentioned where the money had actually come from. Then came Tyler's house. He and his wife Sarah had been renting a nice apartment downtown. "Rent is throwing money away," Dad said at Sunday dinner. "They should buy. Everyone else is buying." "Catherine, tell him I can't get approved without a bigger down payment," Tyler said, picking at his food. "We found a place for $380,000. Need 20% down so we don't get burned on mortgage insurance. That's like $76,000. We have 20. All eyes shifted to me. "Catherine," Mom said gently, "you're good with money. Maybe you can invest. You could help with the down payment. Then later we can pay you back or give you a share when we sell." Mia shook his head. "We are not buying your brother a house," he said firmly. I should have listened. But Tyler promised to put my name on the deed as a partial owner, like a silent partner. He sent me Zillow links, mortgage calculators, articles about building generational wealth. I wired $80,000 to the title company on closing day. At the signing, I noticed something. Only Tyler and Sarah's names were on the deed. "Where am I?" I asked the closing agent. She frowned, flipping through the stack. "You're not listed," she said. "Are you supposed to be?" Tyler laughed it off. "Oh, we'll fix that later," he said. "This is just the first version. We never fixed it." When I brought it up months later, he shrugged. "It's complicated with taxes," he said. "But don't worry, we know you helped." On top of those big hits, there were the constant drips. One winter, I paid my parents' gas and electric bill for 3 straight months, $1,200. Emergency vet bill for Hannah's dog, $600. Flights for my parents to visit Tyler because we haven't seen the grandkids, $1,300. A temporary loan of $5,000 when Dad's truck broke down. Every time, same script. "You're the only one doing well. You know we'd do it for you. We're family." By the time Lily was 5, I realized something that made my stomach flip. I had put more money into supporting my parents and siblings than I had into my own daughter's future. The real last straw came quietly. One day, I was sorting through an old box of papers at my parents' house, looking for my birth certificate. I found a battered envelope with my name on it. Inside were 3 U.S. savings bonds with my name, issue dates from when I was a baby. They were supposed to be for Catherine's college. All 3 had a hole punched in the corner and redeemed stamped across them. "Hey, Dad," I asked, carrying the envelope into the living room. "What happened to these?" He barely glanced up from the TV. "Oh, those? We had to cash them in when Tyler crashed the Corolla senior year. Remember that? Insurance didn't cover everything. You were smart. You didn't need them." He had used my college bonds to bail out my brother's car accident, then later told me there had never been money for me. I drove home in silence that night. Mia washed dishes while Lily colored at the kitchen table. "You okay?" he asked. "They cashed in my college bonds for Tyler's wreck," I said numbly. Mia put his hand over mine. "Catherine, this isn't just helping family anymore," he said. "This is a pattern." So when, a year later, Tyler sat across from me and said, "You're paying for Dad's retirement party, $15,000. It's your turn to contribute," it wasn't just about the party. It was about everything. I didn't explode. I didn't scream. I went home, put Lily to bed, and opened my laptop at the kitchen table. Mia sat across from me, nursing a cup of tea. "What are you doing?" he asked. "Something I should have done a long time ago," I said. I logged into every bank account I had, scrolled back 15 years, and started downloading statements as PDFs, checking, savings, HELOC. "This is messy," I admitted. "I can't even see the full picture." Mia hesitated. "What if you got someone neutral to look at it?" he suggested. "Like an accountant. Not for them, for you. So you know what's real." The next day, on my lunch break, I Googled Independent CPA Columbus Family Financial Review and made an appointment. The accountant, a middle-aged man named Calvin with wire-rimmed glasses, listened while I explained. "I'm not trying to sue anyone," I said. "I'm not asking them to pay me back. I just feel crazy. I need to know how much I've actually given versus what I've gotten, if anything." He nodded like he'd heard this before. "Bring your statements, any receipts, loan documents, and a list of major events. We'll categorize everything. I'll prepare a summary for you. If you decide to share it, that's up to you." I paid him $900 up front. It felt like buying back a piece of my sanity. Over the next week, I forwarded him statements, emails, screenshots of Venmo transfers, pictures of checks. He sent back clarifying questions. "Was this $4,500 transfer for your parents' roof?" "Yes." "Is this $27,000 labeled wedding a gift or a loan in your understanding?" "A gift." "Do you have any documentation of promises regarding house ownership?" "No." In parallel, I took practical steps. I canceled the automatic $400 monthly transfer I'd been sending my parents since Mom's surgery. I set up a separate high-yield savings account labeled Lily College and redirected that $400 there. I reviewed the HELOC and refinanced our main mortgage to roll some of it in at a lower rate, changing the payment, but keeping the responsibility clearly ours, not silently tied to my parents anymore. When my dad called twice in one day, I let it go to voicemail. "Your brother says you're refusing to help," he snapped in one of them. "This is not how we raised you. You don't turn your back on family." I saved the voicemail and didn't respond. 2 weeks later, I sat in Calvin's office again. He slid a stapled document across the desk. "Here it is," he said. 15 years of documented support. I kept it simple, so a non-financial person can read it. On page 3, in bold, it said, "Total family support from Catherine. Gifts and loans not repaid. Parents, medical, housing, utilities. $142,000. Sister, rent, wedding, emergencies, $58,000. Brother, car, down payment, miscellaneous, $140,000. Grand total given, $340,000. Total financial support received by Catherine. From family, $0. At the bottom, a note. This summary is based on documentation provided by the client. It is not an invoice or legal demand, only a factual record of cash flows. My throat tightened. It's real, I said quietly. Calvin nodded. You've been very generous, he said. You're allowed to stop. That night, I converted the document to a PDF and added a simple cover page. Mom, Dad, Tyler, Hannah. So we're all looking at the same facts. In the email body, I wrote, I'm sharing this so we all have a clear understanding of my financial contributions over the years. I am not asking for repayment. Going forward, I will not be able to fund additional large expenses, parties, down payments, major bills, etc. My priority is Mia and Lily. This is not punishment. It's a boundary. I attached the PDF, hovered over send for a moment, and clicked. There was no way to take it back after that. But for the first time in my life, the boundary felt solid, like a wall built out of numbers instead of guilt. The group chat lit up first. Hannah, what is this supposed to be? An invoice? Tyler, are you serious? You're sending us reports now? Mom, Catherine, this is very hurtful. Families don't keep score like this. 15 minutes later, my phone rang. Dad, I answered and put it on speaker so Mia could hear. What is this document? Dad demanded. Your mother's crying. It's just a summary, I said, of what I've paid over the years. You're acting like we're some kind of charity case, he snapped. We did everything for you. We fed you. We clothed you. Like what? I asked softly. Silence again. Longer this time. I'm not asking you to pay me back, I continued. I just wanted everyone to see the numbers. I can't pay for a $15,000 retirement party. I can't keep taking out loans and draining my savings while pretending it's not happening. I have my own family. So that's it? He said. You're cutting us off? I'm saying no to new big expenses, I replied. Medical emergencies? We can talk. But parties, down payments, bailing out bad decisions? No. He exhaled sharply. You've changed, he said. Your husband put you up to this. Mia shook his head and mouthed, Don't. I grew up, I said. That's all. He hung up without saying goodbye. The next few weeks were a storm of messages. Hannah sent long texts about how I was ruining the vibe and making everyone walk on eggshells around money. You always made more, she wrote. You never struggled like we did. I stared at that one for a long time, thinking about those 3 redeemed bonds, about my night shifts in college, about commuting to save rent while Tyler partied on campus. I typed and deleted several replies before settling on, I struggled. You just didn't see it. Tyler sent an email with the subject line, about the house. I get that you're bitter, but bringing up the down payment is low. You offered. Nobody forced you. That money helped my kids have a yard. I answered, I'm not asking for the money back or for the house. The summary isn't about blame. It's about clarity. I won't be paying for Dad's party. That's my decision. He didn't respond. The retirement party got downsized. Instead of a country club with a DJ, they had a barbecue in Hannah's backyard with a rented tent and a Bluetooth speaker. Rumor through a cousin was that Tyler and Hannah fought over who would cover the extra costs. We were invited. Mia and I talked it over. I can go for an hour, I said, with Lily. No conversations about money. Mia squeezed my hand. Then that's what we'll do. At the party, Dad was stiff and polite. He hugged Lily, ruffled her hair, avoided my eyes. There was no big speech, no mention of the scaled-down event. I left with the strange feeling that I'd been at a neighbor's cookout, not a family celebration. After that day, contact settled into a new, cooler normal. Mom still sent the occasional text with recipe pictures or memes. Tyler went quieter, only popping up in the chat to complain about bills are crushing us these days. Hannah unfollowed me on Instagram, but still liked pictures of Lily. 6 months later, Mia and I sat with a different spreadsheet at our kitchen table. Our monthly budget looked completely different. No more $400 transferred to my parents. HELOC payment reduced after refinancing. Extra $300 a month automatically going into Lily College. Another $200 going into our emergency fund. We paid off one credit card, topped up our 3-month emergency cushion, and finally scheduled a small beach vacation. Our first real trip as a family of 3 that didn't involve someone else's crisis. One Saturday morning, Lily and I sat on the living room floor building a Lego set. She looked up suddenly. Are we going to Grandpa's this weekend? Not this weekend, I said. We'll see them soon, though. Okay. She went back to the Legos unbothered. I realized, with a strange mix of sadness and relief, that my daughter's emotional world didn't revolve around whether my parents approved of me. That was my wound, not hers. About a year after the party, Dad asked me to meet him at a diner. He looked older, shoulders rounded. The waitress refilled our coffee without asking. I read that document again, he said finally, eyes on his mug. The one with all the numbers. Okay, I said, waiting. I didn't realize, he admitted. It's different seeing it on paper. I always thought of it as helping each other out over time, but it wasn't equal, was it? No, I said, it wasn't. He nodded, jaw tight. We can't pay you back, you know that. I'm not asking, I replied. I just needed it to stop. He sighed. Your mother thinks you hate us. I don't, I said. I just love my husband and daughter more than I love being the family safety net. He actually huffed a small laugh at that. You always did talk like an accountant, he muttered. We talked about safer things after that. His retirement, Lily's school, the weather. When we left, he hugged me stiffly. It wasn't a movie-style reconciliation, but it was honest. Driving home, the sky was that flat gray Ohio does so well. Lily's car seat was in the back, empty for now, a banana sticker on the cup holder. I thought about all the years I'd scrambled to cover everyone else's emergencies and dreams while calling it being a good daughter. That night, after Lily was asleep, Mia and I sat on the couch with cheap takeout and a documentary playing quietly in the background. You okay? He asked, leaning into my shoulder. Yeah, I said, and I meant it. I think I finally understand something. What's that? Boundaries aren't about punishing anyone, I said slowly. They're just deciding what you're responsible for and what you're not, and then letting the math reflect that. Mia smiled. That sounds like something Calvin would put in a footnote, he teased. We laughed, soft and tired. Outside, the street was quiet. No frantic calls, no new emergencies. Just the hum of our own fridge, the soft snore of our daughter down the hall, and the knowledge that the money we made was finally building our life, not patching everyone else's. If there's a moral here, it's this. You can love your family and still close the tap. You can keep your heart open and your wallet on a budget. And when they say, after everything we did for you, you're allowed to ask calmly, like what? And let the numbers answer for themselves.